Hello and welcome back. We're gonna do a little MLB DFS strategy show here. Before we get into it, make sure to subscribe, comment, all of that stuff. It helps us out a ton. Again, I'm doing this video today because there won't be a newsletter. Ryan is out of town. He should be back for the newsletter tomorrow, though. So we're good to go there. He'll be back. You'll have that again. And now we're stuck with me. I'm sorry, guys. But we did kill it yesterday. I did say some of my top stacks yesterday were Baltimore and the Cubs. Definitely said the Cubs a couple times on this show, and I also wrote it in chat as the little Cliff Notes version of the show. But all right, for today, let's start with some pitching. Look, pitching-wise, Garrett Cole is going to be a higher-owned pitcher. Kodai Senga is a high-owned pitcher. Tony Gonsolin is pretty high-owned. Then Logan Webb and Dylan Cease. I don't mind Cole. He's fine. I just don't love him. I think he is a little bit overpriced. You know, he does only have like a 26% K rate. Cubs, or the Rays strike out a little bit, 24% here, but there's just not huge strikeout upside in this matchup unless, you know, Cole's really dealing, and then you have his 10K upside there. So I don't love it. I just don't see him, you know, having a ceiling game versus Tampa Bay. He very well could. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to have any. I will have a little bit, just not that much. Senga is coming in next. You know, he looks like he's pretty high owned. I think a lot of people are liking him. I do think the Royals could give him a little bit of a test, though. Now, I do like Senga, but he is like Lynn yesterday, he's a very volatile pitcher. High highs, low lows, and I could see him give up, you know, a few runs, which likely kills his upside at 9,500. So he's another guy, you know, LineStar really likes him. I'm fine with him, but I don't love him. He's probably not where I'm going to go most of the way. Now, as far as the high-owned pitchers that I'm probably fading, it is probably Tony Gonsolin here. So, FIP of mid-5s over the last 5 games. FIP of 4.3 over the last 20. Doesn't have a lot of K upside. You know, Oakland's offense isn't great, but they do consistently score, say, 2 to 4 runs, you know, something like that. And that's just enough. With his lack of K upside, that's enough to just tank his DFS performance. While I think his median projection, you know, at 15 is fine and would not be whatsoever surprised if he's in, say, the 13 to 17 area. I just don't see a ceiling game out of him. And if we're trying to win big GPPs, that's what we need. And with ownership on him, I'm kind of off. So he's the guy out of the higher owned pitches that I'm likely fading. Dylan Cease, I do like a lot. I'm going to be going to him. I think he's just too cheap for the upside. Similar strikeout upside as Cole at, you know, almost half the ownership. So I think he's very interesting here. Yusei Kikuchi is another one. He's likely the pivot I'm making off Gonsolin. There's just way more K upside in this spot. Yes, much harder matchup. But with that being said, he is also kind of like Kodai Senga or Lance Lynn, where he's inconsistent. He can be really good or he can get shelled. And so I think this is a high variance spot, and I will be playing both sides of this game. I like Kikuchi, and Baltimore is one of my favorite stacks. So those are probably pretty much the pitchers I'm staying with. I'm going to try and force in a little bit of Shane McClanahan. I don't know if I'm going to get very much. He just hasn't really looked great since coming back off the IL, so maybe the back is bothering him a little bit. You know, I'm not totally sure, but I don't love going there. Another note, I want to just give you a little information on this Slade guy here. So he's a guy from the minors, a decent prospect, but he is a guy that has high upside, but he has got crushed in the minor leagues. He has allowed a ton of home runs, has a mid-6 ERA. So him making this jump, he could be in for a bit of a difficult day, but there is some K upside with him. So if he's able to limit the Giants to runs, maybe he racks up 5-6 Ks or whatever, and at his price, it could be kind of interesting there. As far as the value guys, Dane Dunning's likely where I'm going value-wise. He's nothing special, though. So he is just if, you need to fit in some more bats and maybe some upside is there, but he's not a great pitcher. Combined K rate, 19% today. It's just that White Sox offense isn't that good, and so it's really just trying to pick on the White Sox while Dunning's at home. So I don't love it, but that is probably my value, super cheap value guy that I'll be going to. All right, now stacks-wise. So we'll get over to pitchers a little bit here. So my favorite stacks are, let's pull them down here. All right, so we'll start here. I do like the Giants. As I said, Cecchini, he lets the long ball go. And so with that, I think that San Francisco is a very interesting target. Now, I'm probably not going to have many, say 4 or 5 man stacks of them, but I do like smaller 2-3 man stacks of them. I think there could be a couple home runs in that game. And if there's a couple guys on, for those guys, then there's a very high likelihood of them being profitable today. So I like them. I don't think Williamson's a very good pitcher whatsoever, and I really like this game at Wrigley. I like both sides of it, especially the Cubs. Ownership is going there, so I'm going to try and get a little different with some of their stacks. Maybe using more of the guys towards the bottom of the lineup. But I do like the Cubs. A decent bit here, and with who I like at pitcher, we're getting different already there a little bit, so I don't have to get super different with the Cubs. I'm fine with it. Dodgers, I think they're in a great spot, and I will once again absolutely be going there. A lot of people will be going there as well, though. We got Cincinnati here. Smiley hasn't been great lately. Smiley has, mid-5s FIP, giving up a lot of line drives, not a ton of fly balls, decent amount of hard contact, decent amount of barreled balls. But this Cincinnati team can really hit when they're on. They got embarrassed yesterday. I think they're going to be a little pissed and try and come back at the Cubs today. So I really do like them. And while everybody's on the Cubs, not that many people are in Cincinnati, and that just doesn't make sense to me. I think they're in a really good spot. And I need to bring this up too. So Wrigley, as a ballpark, is very weather dependent. When the weather is warm and winds are going out, the ball flies. Earlier today, it looked like the wind was going to be straight side shore pretty much the whole game. The wind now looks like it's shifting a little bit more to blowing out. So it's a little bit right to left, but a little bit blowing out towards left. And as the game goes, it's going to be straight, blowing out. So with that, I like this game a lot more than, probably most people do. I think Cincinnati is super, super interesting. We got to bring up Baltimore here. So they have hit Kikuchi very well in the past. And as we talked about, Kikuchi is super inconsistent. So Baltimore is a very interesting stack. Once again, I don't think they're going to be super high owned, so we can go there and get different as well. It's a very interesting one for me. Oakland, like San Francisco, it is a different stack. Nobody's going to be there. And I don't love the full 5-man on them, but I do like, 2-3-man stacks with Oakland. Oakland has shown that they, are willing to steal bases. They have some guys with power. They can score fantasy points in a bunch of different ways, even though they're not a very good offense. And with Gonsolin getting all of this ownership, I think they are very interesting. So as a leverage play, I don't mind Oakland. And KC, I also don't mind as a leverage play. Kikuchi or Lin yesterday, Senega is a little bit inconsistent. He can get shelled a little bit, and if that happens, then KC is in a great spot. So KC Mets game, that's probably the second best hitting conditions on the slate. It's, mid 90s or something, it's like 90 degrees there. The wind is coming in versus going out there, but with it being that hot, the ball should fly a little bit. So these are kind of the spots that I like best. To give a quick little footnote thing, favorite stacks, Cubs, Cincinnati, Dodgers, Baltimore, and then small stacks that I like are, Oakland, or secondary stacks, Oakland, San Francisco. If you're getting 5 of those guys because you're slamming pitchers, that's totally fine. You just need your pitchers to really go nuts. And this is a weird kind of slate where no pitcher really stands out as you have to have them, but there are some good pitchers, and not really any of the stacks really stand out from anybody else. So it's going to be an interesting slate. I think it's one where you can absolutely get different. You do not need to pound the chalk on this slate whatsoever. Do not be worried about being different on this slate. Get a little wild and, hope at the end of the night you're in the top 10 with a puncher's chance to win it, like I was last night. So, I didn't have a puncher's chance last night. I was down by like 40 points in 7th place and ended up in like 13th. And the guy that beat me he had like 30 points more than 2nd place. So, crazy little lineup, crazy slate yesterday. I think this is setting up to be a very fun one. And then just to go over my favorite pitchers again, we got Cole, Kikuchi. Like I said, I'm playing both sides of that game. I like Cease. I don't mind Ryan. Don't mind McClanahan. And then I will probably play a little bit of Dunning as super cheap option there. So that's it, guys. Good luck today. I hope you guys win all the money. Ryan's going to be back tomorrow, so he will do the newsletter. He might be out again on Friday, and if that's the case, I'll be back with one of these shows again. Have a good one, guys. Good luck.